There. Welcome to Mental Fitness at Your Desk, a brand new live series by Nia, designed to help you tackle life's challenges with more confidence and calm. My name is Noreen Chaudhary, and I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. We, we are excited to have you here today. In each session, we'll guide you through exercises rooted in evidence based practices to help you build resilience and maintain mental well being. Whether you're dealing with stress, anxiety, or just looking to enhance your mental strength, these sessions are there to support you. Today, we dive into the complexities of life in the digital age. Today's episode is about digital identity dysphoria, a term that might sound new but describes something many people experience. This is a feeling of being uncomfortable, detached, or even dissatisfied with how we portray ourselves online versus who we actually are. In a world where we are constantly switching between profiles, each of us acting as the star of our digital life, it's easy to see how Gen Z is especially vulnerable to feeling this way. In this episode, we'll unpack what digital identity dysphoria is, why it's hitting Gen Z so hard, and most importantly, share some practical ways to find balance between online and offline selves. So, sit back and let's get into it. Understanding digital identity dysphoria. Let's break down what digital identity dysphoria really means. In a sense, it's the discomfort or even stress that comes from trying to manage different versions of ourselves online. Think about how most of us don't have just one online presence. We've got Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, the list goes on. Each platform has its own unique vibe, and we tend to feel like we have to fit in a particular mold for each one. For example, on LinkedIn, you're likely posting about your career achievements, presenting a polished, professional side of yourself. On Instagram, you might be showing off travel photos or perfectly styled selfies to capture your best moments. Then on TikTok or Snapchat, it's often a bit more relaxed with funny moments or unfiltered clips. This can quickly create tension if these personas don't align with who you actually are in everyday life. If you're feeling like you're constantly switching between different roles online, it can create confusion and eventually a sense of disconnect from your real self. Digital identity dysphoria isn't just discomfort, it can lead to serious mental health concerns. Studies show that constantly curating ourselves can lead to lower self esteem, depression, anxiety, and especially if we're comparing our real selves to these idealized versions we see on social media. Now, let's understand the signs of digital identity dysphoria. Constant self criticism, obsessing over photos, or deleting content because it doesn't feel perfect or authentic. Discomfort with old posts, regularly feeling embarrassed or disconnected from the past posts. Validation dependency, tying self worth to likes, comments, or follower counts. Persona switching, feeling like you're playing a different role on each platform, which can be exhausting. Posting anxiety, worrying about others' reaction before you even share content. Frequent comparisons, constantly measuring yourself against others, highlighting reels, and looking at others' profile and feeling low and bad about yourself. endless editing, constantly revising profiles or posts to maintain a specific image, feeling relief offline, finding peace when away from social media but feeling pressured to return back to these profiles and check your updates, likes, comments, and then again getting stuck in the cycle of anxiety. Now, why Gen Z feels this so intensely? Gen Z has grown up online, unlike any other generation. From an early age, they have had access to social media, which means they've experienced the pressures of likes, shares, and followers from a young age. Older generations didn't grow up with these dynamics in their formative years. So, while they might use social media now, they don't necessarily have the same depth of attachment. But for Gen Z, it's different. Social media has played a role in their friendships, their schooling, and even their identity formation. The constant exposure of highlighting reels and perfectly curated snippets of everyone's life has created a world where the image is sometimes valued more than authenticity. There is a pressure to not only be unique but also successful, funny, and aesthetic all at once. And it's hard not to feel left out or behind if everyone else looks like they're thriving online. Let's look at an example of a young professional, Rita. Rita is active on multiple platforms. On LinkedIn, she's a career driven woman posting about networking events, professional accomplishments, and career advisors. On Instagram, she posts her best vacation photos and pictures from outings with friends, showing a lively, adventurous side. On TikTok, she's all about humor, sharing a funny and unfiltered version of her life and moments from her daily life. At some point of time, though she starts feeling like she's living three different lives, Rita becomes uncomfortable with the pressure of keeping up appearances across these platforms. She starts wondering, who am I really? Offline, she's a mix of all these three sides. But online, each platform demands a carefully managed version of herself. The result? Exhaustion, self doubt, and feeling like she's living a double, even triple life. For many, the real self starts to feel overshadowed by the digital self. Now let's understand the psychological impact of digital identity dysphoria. Digital identity dysphoria isn't about feeling tired on social media. It can be a significant source of anxiety and stress. Research shows that people, especially young people who constantly feel the need to maintain an idealized digital self, can experience lower self worth and feeling of inadequacy. When the highlighted reel becomes the standard, nothing else feels like failure. Furthermore, when someone spends a lot of time curating their online image, they start to crave validation from it. If the likes or engagement don't meet that expectation, it can lead to self doubt or feelings of rejection. Psychologically, this is known as validation dependency, the need for online approval to feel valued. It can be difficult for people to separate their worth from these digital metrics, leading to vicious cycle of self-comparison and dissatisfaction. Now let's understand some strategies to manage digital identity dysphoria. Let's look at some ways to navigate and hopefully overcome digital identity dysphoria. Number one is to audit your social media usage. A good first step is to look critically at the platforms you're using. Ask yourself, why am I on this platform? What am I hoping to get out of it? Are these platforms that make me feel are these platforms are making me feel worse or rather better. For instance, if LinkedIn gives you anxiety about career progress, try taking a break or limiting how often you can check it. Remember, it's okay to step back from spaces that don't add value to your life. Sometimes, a digital detox from certain platforms can help you reset your relationship from your online self. Be intentional about what you share. We often are tempted to show the best version of ourselves online, but it's worth experimenting with sharing things that are authentic, even if they're not perfect. Maybe share a moment that was fun but not necessarily photogenic. The idea to let go of the pressure to be on all the time and instead just be yourself. This doesn't mean oversharing or airing your every thought, but rather choosing to be genuine. For instance, instead of only posting polished photos, try adding some moments that genuinely represents you. By embracing a less filtered approach, you might attract connections who value you for who you are and not for who you are pretending to be. Number 2, create a set of core values and let them guide your online identity. Having a clear sense of personal values can anchor your online presence. If authenticity is one of your core values, then aim to keep your profiles true to that. This way, instead of changing who you are for each platform, you're building a cohesive digital presence that genuinely reflects you. For example, if kindness and honesty are important to you, let these values guide you how you interact on each platform, whether it's a professional setting in LinkedIn or a casual space like Instagram. Number 3, limit the number of platforms. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're active on 5 or 6 platforms. Consider paring it down. If Instagram and TikTok are platforms where you feel the most of yourself, prioritize those and let go of or reduce the time on those. By focusing on just a couple of spaces, you will be able to invest more time for yourself genuinely without constantly toggling between different digital personas. Next, schedule regular digital detoxes. Time away from screen can be refreshing. Designate days where you don't check social media or even go device free if possible. You'll often find that this pause helps you reconnect with your offline self and recharges you for when you do return online. If a full day detox feels challenging, try setting specific hours when you're offline. For example, you might decide to avoid social media in mornings or even after 9 p.m. Small changes like this can have a big impact on your mental well being. Next, find communities for real connection. Seek spaces where you can discuss these issues openly. There are online communities, support groups, and forums where people candidly talk about pressures of social media and struggles of maintaining authenticity online. Being a part of a supportive space can remind you that you're not alone and that others are navigating the same challenges. Having a trusted friend or a group you can talk about digital identity dysphoria can be incredibly validating. Sometimes hearing that others feel similarly can reduce feelings of isolation. Digital identity dysphoria is a real and growing issue, especially for those who've grown up navigating multiple online selves. But remember, the digital world isn't everything. We are all allowed to be imperfect, evolving humans both online and offline. The best thing we can do is aim for balance, be kind to yourselves, and prioritize authenticity over perfection. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope these insights and strategies have given you some food for thought. Remember, social media could enhance your life but not define it. You are more than your digital self, And the most important thing is to be at peace with who you really are offline and online. Until next time, take care and remember to stay true to yourself both online and offline. Thank you.